Welcome back to Ask Diz. I'm Diz, and this is the show where I answer your running questions. Let's do this. Today's question comes from Cynthia, and Cynthia asks, is there a quote-unquote right way to breathe while running? If so, how should I breathe? This is one of those questions that at first glance seems like whatever, just breathe, right? And I'm sure that for a lot of us when we got started into running, that was kind of, we just breathe. You know, we just inhaled, exhaled. We didn't think about it. We just breathed. Pretty self-explanatory. But Cynthia, it really is a great question because there is some science to this, and I was first kind of exposed to the idea that there is a quote-unquote right way to breathe several years ago when I was still kind of new in this whole running thing, still figuring my way out a little bit. I was reading a Runner's World article, which I'll make sure to link it down below in the description, that was actually an excerpt of a book called Running on Air, which I'll link that also down below in the description since I'm not cool enough to link up here in the things and whatever. Someday maybe I'll have those powers, but for right now, can't do it. So links down below in the description if you want to read the article on Runner's World or if you want to go ahead and order the book off of Amazon. But basically, the idea is, and there's science to it, which we always appreciate science, right? The idea is that if you're constantly breathing in and breathing out, inhaling and exhaling, on the same rhythmic pattern, you can cause potentially some injuries, or you can at least increase your risk of injuries because of that same rhythmic pattern. How so? Well, it's a little bit complicated, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible because there really is something to this. So when you breathe in, when you inhale, what happens from a physiological standpoint is that your diaphragm relaxes, your rib cage expands, and that allows for the pressure differential between your lungs and the atmosphere for oxygen to come into your lungs to be then transported throughout your body. When you exhale, everything constricts or contracts, which increases the pressure of your lungs, which expels the air out of your lungs, expels the carbon dioxide, the spent air, out, so we can then replace it with oxygen. Obviously, this happens well below the level of actually like consciously thinking about it. It just happens. We inhale, we exhale, we inhale, we exhale. But when you're inhaling, when your diaphragm is relaxing, when your rib cage, your chest cavity is expanding, it does decrease the stability of your core, decreases the stability of your trunk. And if there's one thing that we know about running injuries, not all of them, but a lot of them, an unstable trunk can cause a lot of problems. It can impact your form. It can decrease your body's natural ability to absorb shock with each stride, each footfall. And so what can happen if you're breathing in at a fairly rhythmic interval, which is a lot of folks, it tends to be an even like 2 strides in, 2 strides out. So every time, your right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. Every other time that you say your right foot hits the ground, you're breathing in, out, in, out. Means that every time that you're first going through that process of relaxing your diaphragm to breathe in, it's always the same foot that hits the ground, which means that one foot is always hitting the ground when your core, when your trunk is at its least stable phase. So what does the science say? What does the article say? What does the book say that we should try to do? Well, instead of having a in for 2, out for 2 type of breathing pattern, which I don't know that it's universal, but it seems like it's kind of the default for a lot of people I know. It was certainly my default as well. Instead of doing that, we should try to breathe in sets of either 3 or 5. So in for 2, out for 2, that's a set of 4. A possibly better alternative to help spread that instability around so that we're getting equal instability time on our right foot and equal on our left foot, which means that our body's going to be more balanced instead of one side getting a bit more stress than the other, is to either go in for 2, out for 1, which at an easy pace I find to be a bit excessive, although it tends to work well when you're running harder, or go in for 3, out for 2, which is a sum total of 5, which means that you're going in, out, in, out, out. Every time you go through the cycle of breath, you're alternating which side is going to be striking the ground, which foot is going to be striking the ground in your least stable moment, which means that you're not going to be overloading one side versus the other. So if that's the best way to breathe, and that odd number of steps cadence, if you will, if you're following what I'm putting down here, how do you implement that? It takes a while. It takes a while. You have to be conscious of your breath for a while before it kind of becomes pretty much, something that happens at the unconscious level. Right now, when you go for a run, if you're not thinking of your breath, you're probably going to fall into that 2-2 type of pattern. So you've got to be aware of when you're breathing in, when you're breathing out, when you're breathing in, when you're breathing out, and try to make it work so that you're going right, left, right as far as in, and then out for 1, 2, and then left, left, in, right, left, out. All right? It's awkward. It feels awkward. It takes some concentration, but I will tell you, Cynthia, that over time, and not like over time weeks, over time months, it becomes pretty much second nature. And what you'll probably find is for a while, you'll be really focused on it. And then you'll kind of feel like you've got it in a good groove, and you'll, get lost in your music or in conversation with friends, whatever's going on. And then you'll think back, all right, well, how's my breath doing? And you'll find that you're back to that 1-2, 1-2 pattern. So you just got to get locked back in again, recontrol your breath, and you'll fall back into that 3-2 or 2-1, whichever seems to work better for you. Eventually, you get to the point where I like to feel like I'm at, and this has been 7-8 years of a process to get to this point, although really probably 2 or 3 to really make it second nature, to where I don't really think about it. Every once in a while I do think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm spot on, right where I need to be, and go back to not thinking about it anymore. So it is a habit that can be, something that can become second nature to you, this breathe in for 3, out for 2 type of pattern, but it takes a while. It takes a while. But there is, and I don't know, if the reason that I, quote unquote, or knock on wood or, whatever, haven't had much for injuries lately. I don't know if that has anything to do with the breathe in, breathe out pattern that I'm in now. This 5 for me, most of the time 5 count breathing pattern. But I haven't been injured, so I'll take it, right? I'll take it. So if that's something that you're interested in working towards, work towards it. If it seems like it's way too much of a pain to try to focus on your breathing that much, keep it in the back of your mind, tuck it away. Might be something you want to try down the road, might not be. I'm not going to give you a demerit if you're a in for 2, out for 2 type of breather. But is it the best? I don't know. It works for me. You do what works for you. But if you're thinking about it, if you want to try to focus on it, there is a reason why that in for 3, out for 2, or in for 2, out for 1 type of pattern may be more beneficial than that standard in for 2, out for 2 type of thing. So hopefully that makes sense, Cynthia. Good luck. Let me know how it goes if it's something that you keep kind of working towards. And if you have any other questions along the way, AskDiz@DizRuns.com is the place to send your questions to get featured and answered on a future episode of the show. Everybody else, same rules apply. You want to send a question that I can answer in the future, AskDiz@DizRuns.com. And if you want bonus points, take out your phone, take out your laptop, take out whatever device you have that has a microphone in it. Doesn't need to be a high quality microphone. We're not creating a podcast here. We're not creating NPR worthy audio. You just record yourself asking the question, send me that file to the same email address, AskDiz@DizRuns.com, and we'll clip in your audio, clip in yourself asking the question, which means that it buys you, 8, 10, 12, 30 seconds of me not talking, which everybody wins when I don't talk as much. Which is ironic since I talk for a living. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. Until then, thank you all for listening. Cynthia, thank you again for the question. Hope it helped. Hope it was useful. And until next time, y'all be well. Have a great time out there running. Stay safe, all right? And we'll talk soon. See ya.